Today's video is sponsored by Camel City Mill Socks, the best socks to wear all day while you're working when it's 90 degrees out. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Dude Ranch DIY. My name is Jake. If you remember back it's probably a couple weeks ago now, Sarah came out to help me split up this here pile of wood behind me that I had cut up with the excavator. And I broke the log lift on the Eastonmade log splitter. So today we're gonna fix the log lift on the Eastonmade log splitter and maybe split a little bit of wood. Now, I say maybe because yet again, I think the day that I broke it, it was like 90 something degrees. Today it's like, I think it's actually 92 degrees, but with this intense humidity that we've had, they say the real feel is like 99 degrees. Thank goodness this area, at least of the woodyard, is in the shade. So, I mean, it ain't great, but it's not like totally unbearable. So I'd like to just get the Eastonmade, fixed and in working order, test it out, make sure everything's good on it, maybe split up a couple totes of wood, and then I'm gonna head inside for the AC. Probably throw on Mayor of Kingstown or some TV show. I've been watching Mayor of Kingstown lately. It's really, really good. If you watch TV or, I think it's on, I don't know, Netflix or Amazon Prime or something like that. Awesome show. Definitely violent. Sarah doesn't like it. But anyway, enough chit chat. Let me show you what we got to do here, and we're gonna split up some wood, hopefully. So when I broke this log lift thing, I didn't break the actual, the lift part. What I broke was this piece right here, and that's exactly what the fine folks over at Eastonmade sent me. I called up their service and parts department. Henry knew exactly what I was talking about, and he shipped me out a brand new arm. Now, for those of you that are wondering how I did that, it's because I was standing on the opposite side of the machine and I was lifting up the log lift lever because I had this round actually on the log lift. But unbeknownst to me, I had stacked up this whole pile of cut up rounds too close to the log lift. So there was a bunch of pressure and added weight on the log lift, preventing it from going up. So when I raised it up, it sheared out this bolt, or it actually stripped it out. I don't know if the camera's gonna focus, but it stripped it out of that hole right there. So I don't think it should be that big of a deal to fix. So I'm going to take the socket set, take off the old one, and we'll slap back on the new one.
A few minutes later.
Okay, so that was super easy. I got the new one on there. It was simply 2 bolts. They were 9/16, I think. Does it say on there? Yeah, 9/16 bolts. I did notice that the new bolt to replace this one was considerably longer, so there's going to be a lot more threads in there this time holding it, which I'm sure is something that Eastonmade has improved upon, over the years and months of, modification, making these machines better. So I just want to make sure I didn't over tighten anything, so I'm going to fire up the machine and we'll test out raising and lowering the arm before I put down the actual log lift itself. Now, the splitter hasn't been started up in a couple weeks, so here we go. Looks good. Let's drop down this table. All right, I think we're back in action. All right, guys, we got 2 totes set up here at the end of the Eastonmade. Gonna fire up the conveyor and get the splitting. Here we go. So right now you can see that the right tote is filling up a lot quicker than the left tote. And I just noticed they're a little bit off. They're not perfectly centered. If you're looking at the grizzly bars, if I zoom out here, it's definitely favoring the right tote, so we gotta fix that. All right, well, you gotta love having different pieces of equipment around the yard. I did not bring the tractor down with me today. It's parked up in there. I wanted to use the mini skid steer. This hasn't been on the channel for a while. As you saw, I got a new little toy for it in the name of a rotating log grapple. That thing is awesome, but we will do another video on that another day, talking about it and you know, showing it off, really playing with it. Just got the mini skid steer back from getting hydraulic and electric work done to make that grapple work. It works great, as you can see, but you gotta love having a little machine like this. It's just super easy to hop on. The visibility is great. Push those totes over with ease. I overcompensated a little bit because this tote barely has any wood in it. I want it to fill faster than the other one now. So hopefully they'll fill up roughly around the same time. So far we got about 10 minutes into splitting, and this is what we got. I mean, I'd say this far tote is just about half full, if not even more. And you know, this other one is barely full at all. So let's get them both filled up so I can hit the AC. All right, guys, so I just wanted to take a minute to talk about today's video sponsor. I wanted to first of all thank Camel City Mill for sponsoring today's video. Camel City Mill makes American-made work socks. Now, these aren't your typical cotton work socks. No, these are 100% merino wool. I've talked about them before. They're awesome. But today, like I said in the beginning of the video, it's super hot out. It's been 90 degrees for like the past 2 weeks. I am dripping sweat just sitting here. But I wanted to show you something. I figured a lot of you guys do firewood like me. And what's important, the most important thing when you're selling firewood, moisture content. Nobody wants wet wood, just like I don't want wet feet after being on my feet for 14 or 16 hours a day. So what we're gonna do here, I got my moisture meter. I am going to take off my boot that I've been wearing all day. Now, I don't know how accurate this is gonna be, but you can see American flag right here. These are the new Camel City Mill crew socks. Now, my feet feel a little damp, but you know, not super wet, like they're not uncomfortably wet. So I don't know how accurate moisture meters are on merino wool socks that are 100% made in America. But we're gonna find out. So I am putting this in, and maybe I should be pointing it to you guys, but right at the ball of my feet, it is reading 19.3, 19.0, 19.5. So, you guys that do firewood, everybody knows the rule of thumb is wood is seasoned and ready to sell under 20% moisture content. Well, I'll tell you what, after being on my feet all day, working in this heat, doing tree work, and now splitting firewood, my feet are still under 20%. So they are seasoned and ready to sell. Get your mind out of the gutter. I'm not selling pictures of my feet. So, I just wanted to throw it out there. Thank Camel City Mill again. If you guys are interested in their socks, they got a great website. They're offering Dude Ranch DIY viewers a 10% off promo code with the promo code is Dude Ranch in all capitals. Head on over to their website. There's going to be a link down in the description, and I will pin a comment to their website as well. They make these new crew socks. They make full-length socks. And I think they're coming out with more products as well, but really nice socks for the money. They're well made, made in America, and they've been awesome. I literally look for them in the clean laundry basket every morning when I'm going to work. So if they're good enough for me, they're probably good enough for you guys too. Thanks again, Camel City Mill. Back to the video. Alright guys, that went pretty well. As you can see, we got two heaped up totes here. I'm just going to organize them a bit, and they should be nice and level and even filled up. Now most of this was hickory, and it is 5 o'clock on the dot. We started at 4:30 on the dot. I always try and start these videos, you know, roughly at like a 15-minute interval or something. That way I just know, you know, about how long it took me, so I can tell you guys. So two, now granted these are small totes, but I'm by myself. It's 90-something degrees. So two small totes in a half an hour. I think it's pretty darn good. Now, if you guys saw the last video that I posted with that new Hudson Badger, some people were saying that it wasn't for them. And you know what? That's totally fine. To be completely honest, that machine isn't the perfect machine for me and my operation. But I always like to say you don't know until you try. And you can't get pregnant talking. That's something that my dad always said. You got to take action, in other words. So for me to figure out whether or not that machine would be good for me, or to help others figure out if it would be good for them, I got the opportunity presented to me to take that Hudson Badger, and I said, yeah, sure, why not? I'll definitely try it. I got nothing to lose. I mean, in the end, I'm still going to produce firewood, and that's what I wanted to just touch on here, is that some people were saying that it seemed slow, and we only got two totes done in a full hour. But what you guys got to remember is that, yeah, we only got 2 totes done in an hour, but that was going from full log form. Whereas here with the Eastonmade, everything you see and all the, you know, analytics and the time trials and stuff that Chris and I have done over the course of time that we've had with the Eastonmade, all of that is based off of already having rounds cut up. So yes, we can split 4 full totes, 4 full large totes in an hour, or even less with this Eastonmade 2228. But you got to remember that's from already cut log form. So something that I will be doing in the future is testing out the Badger, you know, more obviously, but I also want to do a sort of time trial and see how it stacks up against the Eastonmade when we're also factoring in the time it takes to cut the wood that we split with the Eastonmade and not just splitting it. I think when we do that, the results aren't going to be as far off as you might think. Now, granted, there are a bunch of other factors to consider, such as, you know, every time I cycle the Eastonmade, for the most part, we get perfect size splits of wood for my customers. You know, these are like 2.5 by 2.5. You get some pieces, yeah, that are a little bit bigger on the outside of the box switch, but my customers love the, I guess you could say, variety of the sizes of splits, you know, all the way down to stuff like this, that's like kindling. So yeah, both of these totes were primarily hickory. This is going to be some really nice stuff, a little bit of maple in there, as you can see here, but all this stuff with the dark center grain is hickory. I am just dripping sweat, guys. Excuse me. Another thing, the air conditioning on the Excavator, unfortunately, the recharging of the system did not work. Or I did it wrong, one or the other, or a combination of the two. So I actually dropped that off at a new friend's shop today. He's a little bit closer than Welder Chris, and the main reason why I didn't bring it to Welder Chris is Welder Chris doesn't have an air conditioning machine to suck, you know, the Freon and capture it and stuff like that. So I brought it to this new guy that does. I also got a new AC compressor, so he's going to be installing that. And hopefully then we can get some air conditioning, because let me tell you, even with the front window, the front door open, the side door open, the side window open, in that machine, because it's the U series, which means zero tail swing, you are sitting right on top of that motor, and it gets hot in there, especially on days like this when it's like 90-something degrees. I still have a big pile of beech that I think I showed in a video a while back that we got to get cut up, and the Excavator is definitely going to be you know, used for that process, because a lot of this stuff, it's not huge, but it's going to make it a lot easier to cut it up. So yeah, let me get these totes out of the way. Enough chit-chatting. We're going to get them labeled up and put away in the drying section of the woodyard. Then I'm going to head in, because I got to make dinner. Sarah went to work today, or into the office at least, and she always likes it when she comes home to a home-cooked meal, and I'm not still out here futzing around with you guys. So let me fire up the Baumalight, get these things out of the way. All right, let's fire this up. I will say the one thing I don't like about this machine is the preheating. It makes you wait to preheat it, like 5 seconds or whatever, every time you start it up. It doesn't need to be preheated today. Like I said, we know it's hot enough. I mean, those glow plugs, it's not gonna have any trouble starting. But I love that this thing, you know, for as little as it is pretty strong. See, I wanted to pick up both totes there. And this is all green hickory. You guys remember my door trick here? He's stuck. There we go. There we go. Oh, we're definitely gonna have some pieces fall out. Hopefully not too many. Okay, 3. It's not terrible. I've had better, I've had worse. it is really just so much easier to position and move these totes around with this little mini skid steer than it is the tractor, simply because it's so small and it turns on a dime. And it really, you know, for being like a, how much does it weigh? 2,930 pound machine, and that's without the counterweight. So over 3,000 pound machine. It weighs about the same as the tractor, but it's on tracks, and it really doesn't tear up the asphalt millings that much at all. All right, now I'm gonna try something new here that some of the viewers suggested. They said, Jake, why do you take the grates off over by the splitter instead of over by where you put the totes? Like, you should use them to hold the wood in while you bring it over to the drying area. And that's a great idea. I don't know why I haven't thought of that. So let's try it out and see how it works. I mean, a bunch of wood definitely would have just fallen out right there going over that piece of asphalt milling, so. Yeah, I think leaving the grate in is the ticket. I never thought to do that, just because I never had a grate that's so easy to use. I'm gonna have to tell Chris about this tomorrow at work, because he always complained about the wood falling out as well. That's why I love YouTube. Everybody's always thinking. All right, so now let's put it down. We'll see how much wood falls out. Probably a couple pieces. Yep, that's to be expected. It's not the end of the world. Can't cry over spilt milk or spilt firewood. But you know what? It's a hell of a lot better than dropping it all the way across and hopping off the machine 5 or 6 times. I'll tell you that. Okay, 2 more in the drying yard. I guess I could just take this, lay it down right there.